welcome back. Today I wanted to show how to make some easy Happy Father's Day card designs using the Silhouette machine sketch and cut feature, and how to pull the cards together into kind of a more traditional card design. So let's dive in. So I wanted to show how to make a really fun and easy Father's Day card. Not exactly a hybrid between traditional card making and using the electronic card making, but kind of hybrid-ish. It still involves paper, but I did use the Silhouette for the font and for this cute little mustache. And I'll be mounting this onto an actual piece of paper. But what I do is I actually starred. This is the Silhouette Studio. So you see here I have my actual file. I've already created this, saved it, but I can show you how I created this from scratch. You're going to need a font that can use the sketch feature for Silhouette, and you're going to need a mustache. So go to the store. I'm going to go to my account, and here go to my designs. So these are the designs that I own. I found this font here. It is the LW Tall sketch font. It needs to be a sketch font by Whitlock. And I found I needed a little mustache. And let's see here. So this is a set of 7 mustaches, and I just used that curly one there. And this is Mr. Mustache by Renee. Let me go back to design. Now, the card that I have, it is an A2 sized card. First thing to size this out is I like to change here under the page setup. I like to change right there the width 4.25. So you'll see here this will be 4.25 and it'll be 5.5 that way. So I like to always make sure that's changed. You do that by clicking here, delete it, we'll put 4.25. So it's sized just the way I need it. And here I could show the grid, so you see you have the lines, but I don't like to see that, so I undo it so that I just have white space. That's how I like to have it. Okay, but now let me go and start a blank file. So this is a completely new file. It's already sized, there, to the way I need it to be. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. So you see I've used this font recently. It's here. See, the TW Tall sketch. So I'm going to go over here, my side panel. You see that says text. Click that. I'm going to type. enter. Oh, no. It's hard to do this without okay. Okay. So now I have what I want. If I wanted to change the font, I could go over here and change it. So you see here, you have to have this all selected. Go over here and change it back. Now right now it's, you know, left, it's on the left margin, like left justified or something. I don't like that. So I want this to be centered. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to center it. The other thing is sometimes the words get squished. If you feel like they're too squished together, you take this, you will double click. So you have to double click, and I will bring that out. All right. So now I have my letters. Let's look at this. So we have a Happy Father's Day now, but we need to center it and move it up. So fastest way to center anything in the Silhouette Studio, click on the object, go over here to here, transform panel. It's this little dots icon. Click that, and you see how it says center. I'm going to click, it says actually center. So that centers it to the very middle of the page. I don't necessarily want it there, so I could click this, use the arrow button, slowly move it up, or I'm going to move it again so you can see. I'm going to move it, say I move it up as far as I want it here, but it's not quite where I want it. Say it's kind of off. I'm going to click it horizontal. The horizontal will center it on whatever horizontal axis you have it on, and the same with vertical. So I'm going to click horizontal here and there. Now it's centered, but it stayed at the very top. So look at the original. It's looking better, right? Now I want this to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to use the arrows there, and pull it out some. Got bigger. Click that. I'm going to use this again. Move it over. Now we need a mustache. So we need to get the mustache going. Let's find it. I'm going to go to my library because I've already pre-downloaded the mustache. Go here. Now this is not as organized as I would like it, but I am going to go to, let's see here. I'm going to go to my search, must, and it comes up. I have music up, but I want this one. So I'm going to double click it. So it all populated here. Pull all these up over here. The thing is, I don't want all of these, and I'm going to need them a lot smaller. So I'm going to make these a whole lot smaller. Move all of this over here. And I'm going to go, you see they're all grouped together right now. I'm going to go here, ungroup. Oh, oopsies. All right, so now you see they each have their own individual little square box around them. That will allow me to pull out just the mustache I will need. And then what I will do is I will highlight everything else here. And I'm going to delete it. There, it's gone. So now I like to make things look as real as possible. So I'm going to take this and we're going to recolor everything. We're going to change the line to black. Now this is nice and black. And the same with the mustache. See, we're going to change this line to black. Sorry, that was here, line style panel. Now we're going to go here, fill panel. Click here, make sure my mustache is selected. I'm gonna choose black. There. And now I can play around with this. I could make the Happy Father's Day a little bit smaller, make the mustache a little bit bigger. Going to go back here, going to recenter the Father's Day. The other thing is we're going to click here, center this. Right. So this is done. Now the next thing is to send to the silhouette. So I'm going to prepare to get that done. Okay, so we are finally ready to cut. So I have some pre-cut 100-pound Smooth Desert Storm Nina paper, and I cut it to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I just keep it in that sleeve there. And that's what I use for that example that I have. So I'm going to put that onto my cutting mat, which I did buy a generic one off of Amazon because I found my Silhouette ones, they were so expensive and I kept on buying new ones. And I actually like this Nick Kappa one a little bit better. So that's the Silhouette pen. I'm going to be using that sketch pen. It's in black. And I'm going to be putting that into the holder. That's where the blade usually goes. You just snap that into the holder instead. And so back in the Silhouette Studio, the first thing is we're going to do the sketch feature so we can sketch out the words Happy Father's Day. So we're going to have to go to send first. So you see how the mustache is not outlined in red. That means it won't be sketched. And so if it is, I'm going to turn it on. If you see it outlined, make sure you go up to that menu there. And you're going to have to do no sketch. So then it's no longer red. But the Happy Father's Day is in red, which means it will be sketched. And it's really important because we're cutting the mustache out in black cardstock. So the cardstock I'm using is 100 pound. So I chose cover stock. It's 105 to 122 pounds. So you choose that. And then for the sketch, make sure it's on the sketch, not the cut feature. And then sketch pen. I'm not sure what the pen holder is, but I use the sketch pen. I know that's what I'm using. Those are preset, force, pass, and speed. So I'm leaving those as is. And the force should be enough, but sometimes it's not. It depends on the paper and the pen. And then I hit send. Okay, so you see, it didn't quite mess up. I ran it through actually 3 times. That's what I was doing with my fingers. And even that apostrophe there didn't quite do it. So I'm just going to show quickly, if you have just one section that didn't quite sketch correctly, you can go back and fix it just once. I ungrouped all of my letters, and then you see I highlighted all of them. I said no sketch, so they're no longer highlighted, and then I clicked just the apostrophe and I clicked sketch, and now I'm going to put it back through. And a big part of this is to make sure you did not unload your mat. That is, I probably should have mentioned that first. If you don't unload your mat, you can rerun it through as many times. And so there, it did it perfectly. So I'm unloading now. I'm unloading my mat. Almost dropped it there. Of everything all over my desk. So you see that was one of my failed ones there. And if I fail on one side, I try not to waste my paper, so I use the flip side because it's the exact same. And I found these pens can be really, really inky, which is one of the things I've been running into, and I might be looking for some alternative pens to use in the Silhouette. You can even see there the black spot where it kind of inks down at the bottom, and I can't even really get in there. I'll probably have to get a Q-tip to clean it off, but it sometimes gets on my hands, so that is something new I'm learning and kind of working with. So I'm going to run it through again. I was not overly thrilled about the results of that first pass through, and I find sometimes the pen needs time to get started. So I am going back and I'm going to do the Happy Father's Day a third time. And I'm going to change the force to 20 manually so it presses harder. And maybe because of the type of cardstock I'm using, it just needs more pressure. So again, Happy Father's Day is highlighted, not the mustache. And I'm just going to send it there. All right. This one came out like so much better. So much better than the first two times. There are spaces that I'm not thrilled about, but I can fix that with just like a little black pen. So now it's time to cut the mustache. We're not sketching it, we're going to cut it. So I have a piece of just scrap black paper here. I think it might be a Gina K Onyx Black. So on the Silhouette Studio, I want to cut out two mustaches because I'm going to glue them together to make it sturdier. So I'm going to duplicate that mustache or copy it. And you could do Control C. You could also hit, no, I almost had it. Not there, and I'm sorry, it's off screen. There's a copy button up there. So I'm just going to paste that twice. There. And there. I'm going to move those up next to each other. And when you have paper that you don't exactly know the size of, this is a great time to turn the grid on in Silhouette Studio, which is exactly what I did. Show grid so I can see where the inches are. And I also I decided to change the spacing to 1/2 inch. And I like doing that, either inch or 1/2 inch. Then when I put a piece of paper on my mat, in real life, I can look on the computer and see, okay, the design I've put goes down 4 inches, but my paper maybe only covers 3 inches, so I can kind of move things around. So now I see exactly how much space these mustaches are taking up, and then I know that my black paper is big enough. So I went to send. They aren't highlighted, the mustaches, because they weren't before, so we need to highlight them and change them so that they will cut. So I highlighted them, they're outlined in red. And this is the next important part. When you change to the blade, make sure you change it on the system as well. So I had to change it to cut, and I had to change it to blade. My speed is already set. So see, I have my blade. And there's little numbers around it, which is for the speed. And if the speed on the computer says 7, I use that little notch there on the machine to turn it to the number I need it. So I'm taking out the pen. I'm putting the blade in. And if you use your Silhouette a lot like me, you made the mistake where you've switched them up. You've cut when you meant to sketch and sketch when you meant to cut. It is a struggle. But just remember, try to remember to do cut when you're supposed to. So cut, ratchet blade. It's going to pass through 2 times. I'm going to leave that. It's a thicker paper, so it's okay. And I'm going to push send.
So look, our mustaches look beautiful. And that only took one go through versus the sketch, which was a little sketchy. All right, and peel that off, and I'm going to struggle. I can't take it off with one hand. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, so I'm just going to have to pause and use two hands. So now we have both of our mustaches. Have our Happy Father's Day. And now we're ready to actually make our cards. So we're on our workspace. I've got my mustaches, my Happy Father's Day, and I'm grabbing a black pen, and I'm going to grab my T ruler because I kind of want to fill in some of those lines, the straight lines that didn't quite get done. There. All right, so I fixed that. And now I'm going to take my two mustaches I cut out, and I'm just going to use my Kikuyo dot liner and just going to tape those together, glue them together really. Because I found the first example I did, the mustaches weren't quite, it wasn't quite sturdy enough. So, yeah, that took a little bit. Okay, got those together. I'm going to take some tiny little pop dots. I'm going to just put them on the mustache because I really want to pop it up. I love dimension. I don't like things to be too flat. So I'm going to put those all across the back. I can't really put them on the little thin part on the outside. So at this point, I was not happy with the... still wasn't happy with the Happy Father's Day. I went and sketched another one off camera, but I didn't bother filming it for you. Now I'm happy with how this one looks. The other one I had tried to fix it, but I kind of messed up. So now I'm just going to put the mustache on. And then we're going to have two awesome kind of card fronts to go make the cards with. And I was trying to get it really centered. I figure if the A is like dead center, then it should be right about there. I just love that mustache. All right. So I have Gina K papers, and I have the I forget what the color is. It's like a burgundy. I'll link it below, and the black onyx that I'm going to use to matte. I have card bases from Cards and Pockets. This kind of really cool wood looking, and then I have a white one also. So I'm going to grab my Tim Holtz trimmer, and I just want to do a 1/4 inch border all around. So I'm going to cut these, instead of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, I'm going to cut them to 4 1/2 by 5 3/4. I guess I did the black first. So I'm just going to cut that, and it should fit just right around the Happy Father's Day. It's perfect. And I'm going to use the burgundy also, which I think is a nice deep color to go with that rich wood textured card that I have. So now I do need to matte these, so I'm just going to use my glue again to matte all of this onto that background. You can see the back of that one where I redid it. Waste not, want not. I love the Kikuyo dot liner because they are just, this is really, really good glues. Never had an issue with anything coming up with them. So I'm putting one of those Happy Father's Day on the black mat. And I'm going to put another one onto the burgundy mat. It's a little off center there. All right. So next I have my bag of foam. And I really want to pop all of this up onto the card front. So I'm going to use this foam. And actually, I don't pre-cut my foam usually. I just roughly measure what I need. And then I just cut a little bit smaller than the card. And I just cut a little bit off the edge. Now that I have the size I need, I'll just use that as a guide for the next one. So I'm grabbing my score tape. I find that's been easier than liquid adhesive for foam. And it's in the 1/2 inch. You can buy it bigger or smaller. I just like to use the 1/2 inch, or at least I'm using it for this project. I'm just going to put that on the back of all of these foam pieces all over. All right, so I put it on the back, I'm peeling it off, and I'm going to stick the foam pieces onto the backs of the Happy Father's Day cards that are already matted now. And you see there I'm adding just a little bit more, just to make sure that nothing actually sticks. Just to make sure everything actually does stick. All right, so they're both done now. Clean up the trash, and now I do have to tape them onto my card bases. So I'm going to add more tape on the other side. And you could do this beforehand and then tape it. I don't know. I like taping the foam down and then putting tape on the other side. So now I'm going to put the one that's matted on the black on the white. I think that just is a crisp, kind of clean look there. And then it wasn't fully scored, so I'm using my bone folder just to score it the rest of the way. And then I did the same thing with the Happy Father's Day on the brown. So I've recently got these invitation mats from Cards and Pockets. A lot of other things are meant for actual professional, like wedding invitations or party invitations, but I got it sized to a little smaller than 5x7 so that I could have white paper to just stick inside. And for me, it was more cost effective than constantly cutting mats for 5x7 cards, because 8.5x11, you can really only get 1, maybe 2 mats. And I felt like I was wasting a lot of paper. So I pre-purchased basically the inside of the card so you can actually write, because I have a lot of card bases that aren't white and it's hard to see anything if you're writing inside the card. And there they go, the 2 cards. So that is an easy Father's Day card that you can do just using some cardstock and your Silhouette Studio. And you can change the font. You could also size this down to A2 size. And here they are, just again side by side. Yeah, you could size these down to be smaller. I think for a Father's Day card, I really wanted to just do slightly larger card. I might make a few smaller ones. And another thing is you could also maybe heat emboss the mustache with clear embossing, and then it could be nice and shiny. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Happy early Father's Day to all the fathers out there. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to post them below. All supplies will be listed in the description. Bye.